spotting errors, our next chapter for verbal ability. My dear friends, to spot error in any sentence, you need to first understand the structure of the sentence and each element of the sentence, which are called the parts of speech. To spot any error, notice that the different parts of speech like adjective, adverb, nouns, pronouns, conjunctions, interjections and verbs are correctly used. So let's first understand the different parts of speech. There are 8 parts of speech. Each part of speech explains how the word is used. The same word can be noun in one sentence and a verb or adjective in the next. The different parts of speech are explained below along with different examples. First is noun. Of all the parts of speech, nouns are perhaps the most important. A noun is a word that identifies a person, animal, place, things or idea. Example, boy, theatre, school, idea, tree, happiness, etc. An example of a sentence with noun is the inspector looked at all the records. Here we are talking about the inspector and what he looked. So here we have 2 nouns, inspector and records. Next is pronoun. A pronoun is used instead of a noun to avoid repeating the noun. Example, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, etc. Example of a sentence, we will meet at the cafe at 3:30 p.m. Here, instead of taking each individual's name who will be meeting at the cafe, one word which represents all of them is we. So we is a pronoun which is used instead of the individual names. Next we'll talk about adjectives. An adjective is a word that describes a noun. It tells you something about the noun. To take the example of a sentence, he is the most intelligent boy I have ever met. Then we'll talk about verb. A verb is a word which describes an action doing something or a state being something. For example, move, talk, think, believe, live, like, etc. Let's take a sentence as an example. He finished the task in the evening. Here the verb is finished. Next, let's talk about adverb. An adverb is a word which usually describes a verb, adjective and adverb. It tells you how something is done. It may also tell you when or where something happened. Example, slowly, intelligently, well, yesterday, here, etc. For example, Tommy was extremely enthusiastic about doing his homework. Here the adverb is extremely. Then comes preposition. A preposition joins the noun to some other part of the sentence. Example, on, in, by, with, under, through, at, etc. The sentence which is as an example is, he entered into the room. Here the preposition is into. Next, let's see conjunction. A conjunction joins 2 words, phrases or sentences together. Example, but, so, and, because or etc. In this sentence as example, although the employees were tired, yet they came to the office. Then comes interjection. Interjections are words which express emotion or surprise, and they are usually followed by exclamation marks. For example, wow, alas, hooray, oh, no, etc. A sentence as an example, oh, I am late at the office. Now, after understanding the parts of speech, now we need to understand the rules. Now, not only for spotting errors, but also in most of the verbal ability chapters, these rules will be useful. Like the first rule is subject-verb agreement. This basic rule says a subject must agree with its verb in number. This has 2 implications. A singular subject takes a singular verb and a plural subjects take plural verbs. For example, a number of colorful glass vases was displayed in the store window. Now this sentence is incorrect. Now the correct form of this sentence is, a number of colorful glass vases were displayed in the store window. Now, as we are talking about multiple glass vases, that's why for verb we are using the plural form, that is were. Now, in this context, before moving ahead, we need to first also understand the singular and plural form of verbs. Now, let's look at this example which says the dog chases the cat. Now, here the dog is singular, but in chase we have added an extra s. So, in a singular verb, a s is added, unlike in noun. Now, we all know that in noun, if s is added, then it becomes plural. But in case of verb, if s is removed, then it becomes plural. Now, in the second statement, we can see the dogs chase the cat. Here, chases is singular and chase is plural. Then let's look at some advanced tricks for subject-verb agreement. Like the first trick, which says some indefinite pronouns are considered singular and require singular verb forms. Indefinite pronouns like anyone, anybody, anything, no one, nobody, nothing, someone, somebody, something, everyone, everybody, everything, whatever and whoever. These are all indefinite pronouns and they will be all require a singular verb form. For example, everyone wants to watch the movie. Notice the singular verb wants in this case. Then the next trick, which says 5 indefinite pronouns can be either singular or plural depending on the usage. Now the 5 indefinite pronouns or the sanam pronouns are some, any, none, all, more, most. Now these pronouns can be treated either as singular or plural depending on their usage. Like in the first case, if the noun is countable noun, then the verb is plural. Like example, some of the girls are going out. Or second example, most of the glasses were broken. We can see in both these cases that the nouns are plural in nature, girls and glasses. And therefore the verb is plural in nature, are and were. And in the second case, which contradicts this case, is if the noun is an uncountable noun, then the verb is singular. Like for example, some water is needed or most of the money was lost. Now in this case, we see that water and money are uncountable nouns. Therefore, the verb which is used is singular, that is and was. So both the words some and most are in one case used as singular and in the other case used as plural. Then the next trick, collective nouns may take either a singular or a plural verb depending on their use in the sentence. If collective nouns are acting as a unit, use a singular verb. A class of students, an army of soldiers. For example, the committee is discussing the issue of safety in the neighborhood. Now here, the committee is a group of people, but it is treated as singular. Now in a similar case, if the sentence implies that the individual members are taking up different actions, we use a plural verb. Like in example, the committee are disagreeing on the issue on the installing street lamps. So here the word committee in one case is treated as singular and in the other case treated as plural. Let's see the next trick. Some words such as news, measles, mumps, physics, etc. are extremely deceptive. They end in s and appear to be plural but are really singular and require singular verbs. For example, the news from across the border is not encouraging. Physics is a fascinating subject. We can see that each of these uses a singular verb. Next trick, the verb in the subjunctive mood always take the plural verb, even if the subject is in singular nature. Now the question comes, what is subjunctive mood? The subjunctive mood of a verb expresses an unfulfilled wish, desire or condition. Generally these sentences are built using if, as though, I wish, etc. For example, if I were the mayor of the city, I would have done so much for the poor. Or next example, I wish I were a king. Even if here is talking about one person in a singular form as I, but still the verb is plural, that is where. Then the next trick. When a noun denoting weight, number, money, length or measure is following a number, the noun form does not change as long as another noun or pronoun follows it. For example, this is a 9 meters scale. This statement is incorrect. The correct form of this statement is this is a 9 meter scale. Though 9 is a plural number and more than one, but still it is followed by meter. Next trick. When the pronoun one is used, it should be maintained throughout the whole sentence. Like example, one must help his siblings. This is the incorrect form. The correct form is one must help one's siblings. One is maintained throughout the sentence. Next trick. Fewer is used for denoting number while less is used for denoting quantity. For example, no less than 30 dogs were. Now this statement is incorrect. The correct form of this is no fewer than 30 dogs were. Next trick. Sentences are always positive to question tags. For example, if the question tag is positive, then the sentence is negative and vice versa. For example, it's a bit early, is it? Now this is a wrong form. The right form of this is it's a bit early, isn't it? Next trick. Instead of who or which, the relative pronoun that is used after adjectives in the superlative degree. For example, these are the best which he could do. Now this is the incorrect statement. The correct form of this is these are the best that he could do. Next trick. As is used both before and after the adjective to show equality. For example, I can write as fast, if not faster than her. This is an incorrect statement. The correct statement is I can write as fast as, if not faster than her. Next trick. Though is always followed by yet in a sentence and not by but. For example, though he is rich, but he is kind. This is incorrect. The correct sentence is though he is rich, yet he is kind. Next trick. Not is never used with unless, as unless expresses a condition that is always used in the negative sense. For example, unless you do not pay the fine, you will not be excused. This is incorrect. The correct form is unless you pay the fine, you will not be excused. Next trick. While implies a time duration of doing something and when denotes a general sense. For example, when learning how to box, the technique is of utmost importance. Now this statement is incorrect. The correct form of this statement is while learning how to box, the technique is of utmost importance. Next we'll know about parallelism. Parallelism means the different words in the sentence performing the same function should be in the same format. For example, all business students should learn word pressing, accounting and how to program computers. Now this sentence is incorrect. The correct sentence is all business students should learn word pressing, accounting and computer programming. Next we'll know about modifiers. A modifier is any word or phrase which modifies the subject. The modifier has to be placed next to the subject it modifies. For example, covered in mud, Mark helped the puppy. Now this is an incorrect statement. The correct statement must be covered in mud, the puppy was held by Mark. Here puppy should be placed next to covered in mud. Then we'll talk about redundancy. It means you should avoid needless repetition of same idea. For example, we will return back on Monday. It's incorrect. The correct way is we will return on Monday. Now let's look at some questions or examples to understand the kind of questions which are asked on spotting error. Now in example 1, the given sentence is the president of Costa Rica along with 2 vice presidents are elected for a 4-year term by the people. Now you have to find what is the error in this sentence. Now in this example, if we follow the subject verb agreement, then after a singular subject, there must be a singular verb. So if the statement is talking about a president, then the verb must be is instead of are. So the right option is elected for a 4 years term by the people. Option C. Next example. Previously thought to have been extinct, a team of biologists rediscovered the New Caledonia crested gecko in 1994. Now here we'll see the rule of modifiers. And as in the rule we know that the modifier must be placed next to the subject it modifies. So after extinct, the next subject or next thing which will be placed will be New Caledonia. So the right option is option E. Previously thought to have been extinct, the New Caledonia crested gecko was discovered by a team of biologists in 1994. Because here what was thought to have been extinct? The Caledonia crested gecko was thought to have been extinct. So the right option is option E. So these are the examples of kind of questions that are asked for spotting error.